Affairs, thanks to the generous confidence that His Excellency the President has bestowed in me, and not just me, because as I said over and over again, my appointment as Secretary General is not just about me. This is the President showing his confidence in the young people of this country, showing his love for young people in this country, even though on our part we have not risen up to his expectations. Look, this is a sign, this is a message from the President to say that, look, no matter where you are from, whether you are from Kiang, my favorite son house, or whether you are a Sarahule from Alonghari, you can get world-class education. You can get a first-world education here in the Gambia, and in terms of employment, in terms of career, in terms of doing anything you want to do. To borrow his own words, the sky is the limit.
Very excellent. I mean, you have lived the life of a writer. You have published series of books. Just to name, I think you have Jangi Jollof, the one that you just mentioned. You have in fact, we have lineup of them. There are so many titles. I mean, what is that experience? How did you become a writer?
It's a wonderful experience. It is one of the, being a writer is one of the greatest joys of my life. It could not have happened again without the educational opportunities that His Excellency the President has opened in this country. I mean, by the way, I graduated with a degree in mathematics. I did my first degree in mathematics here, but I did a few English classes during my first degree program here at the university, and it opened my eyes up to the beauty of literature, and it introduced me to some very fine techniques of honing my skills in writing. And of course, when we graduated, we thought the university program in the Gambia was a wonderful story, and somebody had to write the story. Well, I took the initiative. I thought there could not have been a better person to write the story than me, from the student perspective, of course. You know, because as the President recently said, even the Gambia's pen cannot fully write the genesis of the university education in the Gambia, because he knows better the story behind the story. So what I did was to write from the angle of a student, what experience it was going through the Gambia's first university program and the challenges. And I finished this memoir, published in 2005, launched.
That was your first?
My first book ever. Interesting, look at this. First university program in the Gambia, first valedictorian in the University of the Gambia system, and then writing the first memoir about university education in the Gambia, perhaps the first student's memoir. And then His Excellency, of course, the President, as per his wonderful generosity and magnanimity, he honored me by launching this book officially, being represented by no less a personality than our mother, Her Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Ajaratu Aissatou Njai Sedi. This book was launched in 2005. And to date, I think for Gambian readers, it's my most popular book, especially the students going to the university. Most of them read it and they get a lot of inspiration from it. I've been to Turkey recently, walking in the streets. I saw Gambian students. I could not believe it. They are studying there thanks to a scholarship program initiated by His Excellency the President. And they all told me they read this book, Jangi Jollof, and it gives them inspiration, especially during challenging times, because you know, it's a beautiful story that not only teaches and instructs you, but it also makes you laugh. There is a light side to it to show you that in spite of the challenges of life, you can be happy and fulfilled. And by the way, the Ministry of Basic Education just approved it for use in the school system, and before the end of the year, I'll print the school edition of it. And that was the beginning. Of course, I went to America and published Instant Success, 10 Keys to Personal Achievement, a very popular book also. I did The Way to Happiness, inspirational essays. These are essays I've been writing in the local press for the past 10, 15 years. And I did a book of poetry called Love Notes. And then, of course, the wonderful book for the Gambia, Living the National Anthem, where I expatiated on the beautiful and inspiring themes of the national anthem based on a speech that His Excellency the President did in one of the July 22nd celebrations, showing us that we have the best and most inspiring anthem around the world. I followed that up with a book of poetry, To the Gambia, the Smiling Coast, that just celebrates the beauty and warmth of the Gambia as a wonderful touristic destination, and the list goes on.
So we are counting up to 10. And then do we expect any more?
At least 10. I have at least 5 manuscripts ready. If I don't put pen to paper for the next 5 years, every year I should still be able to publish a book, inshallah ta'ala.
Interesting. But like going back to the memoir, Jangi Jollof. I mean, what were you trying to depict? I just want to put emphasis on the wall of title, Jangi Jollof. Were you trying to depict the difficulty that you face as a student, or the skepticism that greeted the university extension program that was established by His Excellency?
I think you captured it. Nobody could have said it better, not even the author. It depicts the challenge and also the skepticism. You know, because I think we actually got it from this term. You know, you met with boy nakamangi cooli jollof. You know, cooli jollof. You know, that's not so cool. So jangi jollof then was not so cool. Hey, listen, young people. Now it's a pride to go to the University of the Gambia. I've seen parents tell their children that they are not going to fund their education to go study in the West. They want them to study here because they know that the education here is as good as any degree you can get anywhere, and they send their children to me to mentor them. So now I think Professor Kai is even having a problem being able to enroll all the students who want to go, because now it's a pride to get there. But then it was not. People were laughing at us, you know, but as I said also in the valedictory speech then, the University Extension Program and the University of the Gambia system has become the proverbial rejected stone that becomes the cornerstone of the building.
I cannot remember Modu Sabali involved in any way politically. But when you talk about the July 22nd revolution, it has not only brought educational transformation, infrastructural transformation, of course there was political transformation. I mean, what is your perception? What observation have you, I mean, when it comes to politics in the Gambia, what obtains now and then in comparison?
Well, you know, I've not been active in politics, but I've been a keen observer of the local political scene. I think we've seen a transformation from a system where a government minister oversees the electoral process. It was then under the electoral commission, so to speak, was then under the local government ministry controlled by the then government. Then we had President Jammeh coming and bring in the Provisional Independent Electoral Commission, PIEC, and then transform it into a permanent independent electoral commission that handles our election process. You have a proliferation of political parties. You know, they are operating as they please everywhere. And we have seen also with the coming of President Jammeh, and this one has to do more with his own charisma, that young people taking ownership of the political process across the divide. Even the opposition, they all have young people supporting them. But this was the inspiring nature of how President Jammeh took over the realms of affairs in this country. So we have seen that, and people now know that, as President Jammeh said when he came, power belongs to them. So they are able to observe for themselves and see what's going on, and based on that make informed choices. GRTS is a great contribution to that process. Then I think most of our politicians were obscure. You just hear their names on the radio. Now come election time, from APRC, UDP, NRP, all the political parties they don't only have a voice, they also have an image. They come to the parties, you see the person, you see his flag, you hear his message. You know, I think it's been an interesting and transformational process that when it comes to politics, especially with the addition of the National Council for Civic Education, we did a tremendous job in sensitizing Gambians. You know, I think the first referendum I ever saw in this country was when the president, then as head of the transitional government, brought us a referendum. I think the people, some Padibunkas call in Sontani Mansong. I think the Kiankas, because they cannot say referendum, they call Farandumbo, whatever that means. But it came with a lot of political sensitization, and to date, the NCC is doing that job of sensitizing these people in terms of their political and other civic rights. Of course, we have a wonderful institution. I love that institution, National Assembly. Great institution that speaks for people. You know, it's the people's Pantaba across the aisle. APRC, opposition, they all have their voice. And they've created this wonderful body called PACPEC, Public Accounts Committee, Public Enterprises Committee, that stands there as representatives of these people, holding us those of us in the executive accountable for our actions. I think it's one of the